California and the Bay Area got a lot of love at last week's Democratic National Convention, with Vice President Kamala Harris clearly in the spotlight. And now some are wondering what's in the cards for Governor Gavin Newsom. Many believe he had his own aspirations to run for president. ABC 7 News reporter Suzanne Fahn joins us live in the studio with a closer look. Suzanne?
So, Stephanie, Vice President Kamala Harris and California Governor Gavin Newsom are two rising stars in the Democratic Party. Some say the two are highly competitive. And with Harris at the top of the Democratic Party's ticket for president, there are big questions about what happens next for Newsom.
We proudly cast our 482 votes for the next president, Kamala Harris.
That was Governor Gavin Newsom's big moment at the Democratic National Convention, delivering the state's delegates to Vice President Kamala Harris. And with that, the Oakland-born, Berkeley-raised former state attorney general moved forward.
I accept your nomination to be president of the United States.
Many believe Governor Newsom had his own ambitions to run for president. He promoted himself as a champion of abortion rights, running TV ads and putting up billboards. He traveled across the country and defended President Biden. Attorney Joe Cachette is a longtime Democratic Party supporter.
I've gone back maybe 30 years with Democrats locally, nationally, and otherwise. I go back 42 years with Joe Biden, Gavin and I on the Great Wall in China 20 years ago.
Cachette says Governor Newsom wants to go far and that he's worked hard for Democratic Party leaders.
Of course he has presidential ambitions. He's a born leader. He's tremendous. And yes, he did work very hard for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
What happens next for Newsom?
Every moment he's awake during the day, he will be working on that campaign. That's how important he knows it is to the entire country to stop Trump for another 4 years.
UC Santa Cruz professor of media studies Nolan Higdon says Newsom and Harris have always stood out in the Democratic Party.
I think they're certainly two rising stars within the Democratic Party over the last decade.
Higdon says Newsom played a big role in bolstering support in the Golden State for President Biden. Higdon says Harris has her own strong ties to California donors and the Democratic Party. What's in the cards for Newsom as he navigates a new role behind Harris?
Gavin is going to be done with his governorship here in the near future as well, probably looking for a federal position. And I can imagine working somewhere in Kamala Harris's cabinet would get him a great opportunity to put more on his resume to make the justification for being a president in 2028.
And Professor Higdon says Governor Newsom clearly has his sights set on the White House, even going back to the President Obama years. Higdon says Governor Newsom was looking at potentially running in 2016, and Higdon doubts that Newsom will stop looking at which year could be his year to run. Live in the studio, Suzanne Fahn, ABC 7 News.
All right, Suzanne, thank you.